want it all, we got it all. Baby Boks, champions of the world. It's getting a little bit boring beating New Zealand at the moment.
I saw somebody, I don't know, I think it might have been Ben Kopiski. Was like, is there anybody else that we can play from New Zealand, in a final?
Well, it's got so bad they had to send the Black Ferns 15 over because I know they'll win that one.
Yeah.
They are superior in the women's game at the moment. But incredible result for our junior Springboks. I'll always call them the Baby Boks. Riley Norton played in the Under-19 Cricket World Cup, and now he's the champion, the captain of the Springboks. They beat New Zealand. They beat them convincingly. And I just loved that they showed everything that typifies a Springbok World Cup final performance: defense.
Yes.
And when will New Zealand start learning that you win big games because of defense, not because you play with width and space and pace all the time?
Indeed, man. We had guys up there. I think Vusi Moyo, the fly was the leading point scorer in the tournament.
50 plus?
Hashim Peed scored, I think, 6 tries. Tied for second place.
Great scrum off.
People love him,
talented.
Mate. We ran a poll, said who's the MVP for the junior box. It was Hashim Peed, 67% of voters. So people think he's got a very bright future in South African rugby. I see some people even calling for him to be called up to the Boks squad immediately.
To start against New Zealand.
Exactly.
And Australia.
Back. Yeah, so great result. Very happy for them. Bodes well for the future. I think big tip of the hat to Ackerman for his involvement in that squad. Definitely a lot of just improvement. And like you mentioned pre-show, the value of that rugby championship, the junior rugby championship, and giving those guys some cohesion.
Yeah, so Kevin Foote came back from Australia, used to be with UCT, head coach, and Akkers got involved. Again, just having that kind of IP in the South African game, I think a great signing that he's gone to the Bulls, where he played as a player. Comes out of that Pretoria Police College,
Yep.
where I also did my national service. I've been everywhere, mate. And
I love it.
yeah, check my age.
Mate, just hang on. Speaking of being everywhere, because I want to bring this up. You've got a lot of colour in your face, mate. You look like you've got some rest. I would have lost a lot of money because I know you were at Barrydale at the Karoo Art Hotel this weekend for an event with Dobbo and a couple of storms. I expected you, mate, to be in ICU by Monday.
It was close at times. It was close at times. I'm not wearing the grey outfit because it has been christened with Jägermeister stains all over it. I think my bill included...
Don't say it, mate.
I think it included 117 Jägermeister shorts for the Friday and Saturday night.
Wow.
Those were the shorts.
You're working overtime.
Yeah, look, I didn't drink all 170, but I certainly had a good portion of them. But wonderful. John Dobson got given the keys to the Karoo Auditor.
Literally.
Through Sue and Rick Melville. He does so much. They do so much for the communities, and especially the rugby community, the rugby club, Straighters, and the Flying Eagles. So Dobbo had this event. Friday night, Francois van Coke was there. He played. Good thing. I mean, this guy's maturing because he got out of there on Friday night. He knew what could happen on Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, well, Friday evening, went down to the club. Dobbo and Rick gave, it's the 75th anniversary for the Flying Eagles. They got hoodies. They got new kit. Straighters are getting some kit as well. And then for both teams, they got the Stormers training kit to train in, and a very inspirational kind of chat again from Dobbo. And the great thing is Dobbo and I both spoke, and we spoke in Afrikaans for like 90% of the time.
What?
Yeah, Dobbo was on fire.
Really?
Dit was nie kombuis Afrikaans geweest. Dit was baie goeie Afrikaans geweest.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then we went back, obviously watched Francois Coke, and then Saturday we watched the All Blacks sneak it. We watched the Lions edge it. And then Dobbo, Scudder, Ntabeni, Stephen Kitsoff and Dion Fourie, who is guests, the bomb squad. During the game of the All Blacks, during the Lions Australian game, they were working the bar. And they worked the bar on Friday night as well. And I think they would much prefer to be in the front row.
Yeah.
Because I was actually sweating behind that bar and I was getting busy doing the bomb squad beer. The premium lager, apparently, I don't drink it, but it said it's very good. And then they got into this thing where they showed the review and the preview from Cardiff into the quarterfinal. Very technical 1 hour that they showed people how they prepare for the week, the clips, what they go through. So it was very interesting. And then obviously into the big Bokke game, we had a Q&A. And and then into the Baby Boks, Peter G, the magician, Comedian was there. He was outstanding. Laughter.
Is he related to Kenny G? Or not?
No, much better looking. And and festive and feisty, and lots of fun was had by all. Ollie took some great pictures. Gillen Pike had a wonderful time.
Brilliant.
Thanks. Shout out to Lydia, looked after her. But so much that gets done in Barrydale and in that community. I watched Ireland lose to South Africa last year. We had fun there. And then this year, watched them beat Georgia. And we traveled in such comfort. Once again, thanks to Ollie. A huge shout out to Defender. We traveled in the Defender Octa.
Sure.
Wow, now I mean that is power, V8 engine and just comfort. I mean,
Glorious.
Look,
How many cup holders does it have?
I forget how many cup holders they have, but we flew there and we flew back, and but the trip there was just wonderful. The trip back, the head was a little bit tender, the body a bit fragile, and then Defender, Land Rover, been involved with the World Cups, with the World Rugby for the last 25 years. They're involved with the Women's World Cup, and please keep on staying involved in rugby so we can keep on driving those vehicles, if only for a weekend. But just an incredible weekend. And to Dobbo, a big shout out what he does for that community. He was the commandeer and the commander. He was on fire. If you go to our WhatsApp channel and our socials, you'll see some cool pictures from the weekend. And then obviously just the right guys there. Braners.
I was going to say, you're looking good for a guy who spent the weekend with Brannas.
Yeah, he was on fire. Your brother's a punko, yeah. And then Scudder, just a wonderful human being. And Kitsy, spicy plum, silent and dangerous. But yeah, it was great. I mean, that's my monologue. Just an incredible weekend.
Beautiful.
And then to watch my favorite player, and he for me is our Stecco play of the week.
Definitely.
Kane Moody. And we spoke about him in the previous test match, playing at 13, and how well he did, the kind of tries he scored, the mongrel that he's showing. I don't know which plays of the week, which Sticker plays, from all 3 test matches.
And the baby box, junior box.
Which ones you want to throw into the mix?
No, mate, I think that is the clear out-and-out winner from that line-out strike and halfway. Beautiful interplay with the backs. Forwards getting involved at the end there. I think Ruan Nokia with the beautiful soft hands. And Kane and Moody just dragging 2 Georgians across the try line for a fabulous try. So that'd be my winner.
Yeah, so in Stecco, always thanks for the support. Log onto their site. Some cool stuff to purchase there. If you have some kashish.
Kashish.
Which I don't have after this weekend.
No, mate, none.
Yeah?
None.
But he cost me. But I loved it. I loved it. Just wonderful.
Did you love the Boks Georgia, mate?
You know what I loved, was the way...
You have to watch it with one hand over
the way Georgia came out, and I mean, they bought the physical fight.
They were great.
We spoke about the Bermuda Triangle. There you saw them. It looked like a Boksburg, Benoni, and Brakpan 15 that started that game.
Beautiful.
Alternatively, Pretoria Police in the old days.
Guys who are wider than they are tall.
And I think Sia Khaleesi must think that they had a target on him. If you want to know how Sia's body is or his fitness, well, there it is. He passed the test. That guy got nailed so many times, Bongi came on and he got smashed. I mean, these are big South African boys who are getting smashed. But I just love that we were made to fight in that first half.
Yeah.
We really got a hit out. I mean, outside of their own contact session, I would say this will be the toughest physical game they'll play till the next World Cup.
Spot on.
And it's those Georgian Oaks are monsters.
They are mana.
Yeah, they're just a danger when the ball gets to 10. It's a dangerous if he puts it out to 12. It's got to go back.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I love that, and I just love the finish that they could score 3 tries in the last 7 minutes to show the guys at the breakdown in New Zealand that there are new players in the box setup, and we don't just rely on line-up, mauls, and scrum tries. We can actually play a bit.
Spot on, mate. Rusty came out afterwards, said he's going to put the experimentation on ice for a while, but I think he ticked every box in terms of what you can get out of the July test window, the Barbarians game, to prepare the box for what's coming in the Rugby Championship. It would have been easy, I think, probably for a coach to lean into the cohesion side of stuff and revive combinations that have been spread across the world for the last, 6-7 months. But I think as much as we lost cohesion by rotating as many players as we did, having everybody with minutes on the clock, and also giving guys an experience of having to solve issues on the fly will definitely stand these guys in good stead. I mean, that first 30 minutes, Georgia had some of our guys flustered. You could see we were reactionary. And I think that comes from being in combinations that aren't necessarily fully settled, and maybe not being in our best form individually, but that experience, I think, will definitely stand us in good stead going forward.
Yeah, look, when I look at from the Barbars game, 54-7, through to the Italian game, they got 42 points, as he says, conceded 24, and really got annoyed that they conceded that Mull try. And then a 45-0 win, 55-10. I mean, if this was a World Cup, for example, these were your pool matches, and that's how I looked at it, and you want to get game time for the entire squad, and then obviously settles into the Rugby Championship. And it's a great start, 2 at home against Australia. They're going to pump Australia. I can tell you, there'll be nothing left of Australia by the time they get here.
They get here, yeah.
Australia, when they're world champions, couldn't come to Johannesburg and win when we were lying 5th and 6th in the world. So they're not going to come here and beat this side.
Yeah.
And then this preps perfectly for the 6th of September. I mean, that's the big one. To go there and potentially beat the All Blacks, and take another thing away from the All Blacks, which is their record at Eden Park. 50 matches unbeaten, 48 wins, 2 draws.
Yeah.
And we were one of those draws, 1994. Outscored them 2-0. Shane Howarth, Maori All Blacks and All Blacks fullback, kicked 6 penalties, and then went on to play about 40 games for Wales. They found out that his grandmother was Welsh. And they were asked for the records, the church had burnt down. Wales!
Brilliant.
So yeah, I just love that the way he's picked his combinations. I thought for a guy like Marnus van der Merwe and Boom Venter, by 30 minutes you thought, these oaks look like they belong in the system. I thought Kobus Wiese at 8 was an inspired choice. Just physical. Reminded me of a raw Dwayne Vermeulen in terms of his physical presence and ability to break that first tackle and kind of make those yards. So first time he's ever played at number 8, 139th professional match. Again, the thinking within that squad that Rassie knows exactly what he wants in an 8, in a 7 or a 6. And Wiese produced that physical confrontation that he needs. There may be other test matches where he needs an 8 with a bit more finesse, maybe a greater skill set. But yeah, I thought that was good. But for me, the 2 guys who were the biggest winners were Kane and Moody. These 2 matches at 13 and Grant Williams at 9. And then obviously Peter Steff, just to get through 160 minutes of rugby like he'd never been away, was outstanding. I don't know who stood up tallest for you. Biggest?
I like those picks. I mean, Kane and Moody, it's just great to see somebody under 30 years old starting for the Boks and showing great signs of potential for the future. You know, there's a guy who's going to be 25 at the next World Cup or so. So exciting to see him come through. I thought everybody, as much as I've mentioned that Georgia kind of flustered us at times in that game and we kind of lost control in moments, the ability to problem solve on the fly, I think, is a very, very underrated skill and trait of teams that are consistently successful. So all the youngsters that came through there, and I'm including a guy like Wiese, who's never played at 8 before, I thought did very well. It is difficult to judge the quality of the performance given you playing Georgia. It was the same in a way against Italy and then obviously the Barbarians. But you can only play who you're playing, right? You can't play like you're playing the All Blacks when you're playing Georgia. So promising signs. I think September is going to be the true test of where the Boks are at. But we're tracking very much in the right direction. We scored 30 tries in 4 matches this season and didn't waste our time kicking a single penalty. So we're definitely getting reps on attack.
Yeah, and again, if you look at how many fly-halves he played, how many fullbacks he played.
I saw what you wrote there, mate. 5. I couldn't believe it.
All the different combinations in midfield, the different lock combinations, change the front row every time. We won 4 matches and won them convincingly, and there were 10 changes every time to a starting 50. Now, to be able to do that and still get the same type of result, we saw New Zealand made 10 changes and nearly lost. They were hanging on at 22-19 against a French team missing 30 players. 22 of the French squad that won the Six Nations title, their match 23 were not in New Zealand. So that's an up for the quality of French rugby, but also New Zealand don't have 35 players of equal quality.
Precisely.
When you take certain guys out there, you lose something. When you take a lot of our guys out, you wonder how much do we actually lose.
But I wonder how much of that is chicken and egg. I mean, I think you're spot on, and I would tend to believe that it's a South African thing, that we have the depth to do that. But I wonder how much of that is chicken and egg in the sense that the All Blacks aren't coming off double World Cup wins and haven't been in a situation where the coaches actively created a winning environment and then created opportunities to rotate. I think in a bizarre way, Rassie has created, his system is trying to create a cohesion out of a lack of cohesion. In other words, you have a team that is used to change. You don't have a team that gets played every single week. Cohesion levels are high. The tight head gets injured and the whole plan falls to pieces. These guys are almost getting reps in an evolving environment all the time and getting the confidence to problem solve on the fly. And I think in there is a trait that is going to make the Boks success sustainable in the long term.
And the evolution and the phasing out. So you look again, and it may become 2027, and you pick a match 23 to play in a playoff game, and there could be 11 players left from the World Cup final. You don't even realize they've gone.
Spot on.
And that is the sign of a remarkable team. And that's what the All Blacks got right, 11 to 15. There were a lot of changes in that side that won 2015, but Sama Mialamu was there right till the end. Others drifted off, but no one got axed. No one got put out to pasture in an ugly manner. They were comfortably taken. They were comfortably taken and put on the couch and said, you know what? Now you watch the last year from here. Thanks for the last 9 years. So I thought Fassi again,
very
strong,
good, mate.
To bring on Damian Willems when Fassi comes off these Georges, I thought, no, you know. Edwell on the win. Just again, if something happens to Cheslin,
I don't know, mate. That bloke's pushing.
It's capable.
Yeah.
Look, no one's pushing Cheslin.
I don't know.
No one's pushing Cheslin.
I don't know.
Curtly looking like he's finding more form the more he plays.
Well, what I will say about that, mate, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the nano backs are electric, right? But on the edge, the Georgians caught us a few times. That's been a recurring issue in this July series, is when we get caught out wide with nano backs, the turnovers happen. We get pulled into touch. What I like about Edwell and Makazole is two guys who maybe are 5% off on the speed and explosiveness, and that's maybe. But physically, they are more capable of handing themselves at that wide breakdown. Just something to consider.
Yeah, and that's where Hooker comes in as well. You know, they'll probably start him on the wing. Many think his best position is in the midfield, 13 or 12. But Kane Moody for me is the guy who started on the wing, and I think 13 is where he's going to end.
Yeah,
and it reminds me a lot of Tana Umaga and Mao Nonu, who started on the wing, because he's got great pace, but he hasn't got out and out electric pace. But he's got such skill and physical. And I mean, just the way he scored against Italy and the way he scored here, he fought for his tries.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to give up. And then you look at the combinations that we have at 10. Mani played well when he got the opportunity. Sasha, his kicking was off 1 from 5, but he played well. And then Pollard came on and he looked rejuvenated in the last 15 minutes.
It's not Spurs kick.
It had to be, though. Straight down the centre. Boom, take that.
He's the leading point scorer this season for the Boks. I mean,
so it's like... and then you're looking at just the way Sia came back. You wouldn't think he hasn't played for a while.
Yeah.
Peter Steff, as I said, he got through that. Ewan got a couple of games. And then Runokia, he continues to pleasantly surprise me. He just looks so comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I think if anything, and you don't want to be critical of any one individual, but the one guy who needs a bit more game time, I think, is Bongi.
Definitely.
But again, you know, he's been there, he's done it so often. Is he going to be the man that sizzles in Auckland?
Yeah, he's timing himself, mate. He'll be ready.
You know,
He'll be ready.
And that big match temperament and that.
Yeah.
And then just the depth, to lose Kitsi, to lose Frans Malherbe, and then to be able to replace them with guys we hadn't heard of a year ago.
True.
And they do well, man.
Yeah, that's
Look,
exciting, man.
I thought it was an outstanding July, in so many questions were answered. And there were a lot of questions asked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great call.
You know, and a shout out to the coaching staff, to Rassie and his guys, Tony Brown, Jerry, Dion, Davids, Don, all the rest. Yeah, I just thought they would have been pleased at the intensity in that last 20 minutes against Georgia, because it was a game that comfortably could have just 34-10. You know you're going to win it, error-ridden. The one area, and you can maybe elaborate on that, the one area that consistently does come up, and that's when New Zealand will be looking, is the breakdown.
Yeah.
And we've been troubled there. And is it a timing? I asked Dion Fourie on the weekend. He said it's a timing issue. It's also we're playing a little bit differently. There's great positives to the way Tony Brown has introduced a certain style of play, but they're still trying to find the balance between attack and defense at that ruck. And at the breakdown, and we get turned over a lot there at the moment.
No, I think the breakdown is definitely something that will suffer when cohesion goes down. I think when you know exactly where you are in the map, in the plan, and where you've got to be, and who's coming with you, and what your options are and all those things. I think the more you play together, the slicker that becomes. So I think that will improve with time. For me, a little bit of a red flag is the maul defense. I think that's something that we need to ratchet up. I don't know how teams have changed what they're doing, but they're finding some purchase against us there, and that's something that we need to focus on. But again, a lot of those things will be solved just by more time in the saddle as a combination, which is great, because to come out of it having scored 30 tries in 4 matches and still have that nagging feeling like you need to improve in departments is the perfect place to be. What you don't want to be is having won all 4 of these matches 75-0 and thinking you're the greatest team that ever, played rugby. So I think we're in a perfect spot here to kick on now in the Rugby Championship and taper for that All Blacks tour.
But also, I think very relevant post World Cup 23, and Rassie said COVID played a huge factor, obviously, post 2019. But to find that consistency, and we go back to that All Black side 11 to 15, they won 90% of their tests between World Cups and won the World Cup. And he said that's what defines a team when you talk greatness. This team's right up there now. 2024, 2 1-point defeats in 13 matches, unbeaten in their 4. The big difference being they've blooded how many players, and they've used about 60-odd players.
Yeah. And
that is incredible, because it's shown you can introduce the newbies and you don't have to lose while doing it. And I think that would be the biggest positive Rassie would take from it, is he's put so many new kids into that very established setup and come away with victories. And winning culture is a good culture.
Big time.
And it's a lot easier to flourish when you come in and you've lost 2 matches in the last 25 or something, than when you are fighting for a win as much as a place in the next test match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Boks are very much playing themselves, aren't they? It's very much, I've got to perform because Mark's right behind me for my job. So I know what the measurables are. He knows what the KPIs are. If I don't tick these boxes, you're not even thinking about who you're playing, really, are you? You're just trying to stay ahead of the 3 other guys in the squad who can do your job.
Well, I looked at Sia Khaleesi afterwards, and his first thing was each team that goes out has to set a standard. And we didn't match the standard from Kobera at 45-0. We didn't match it in the first 30 minutes, we being the Springboks. He says, and that was the message half time. You got to play to a standard, because those guys will be back next week. And so it's second what you're saying. It's very much you're playing to keep your place in a sense, but you're also very aware of who's in the chasing pack. So I know that there is the pecking order, and the players know it. Like, Peter Steff, you're 1. So-and-so's 2. So-and-so's 3. Yeah. So I don't think he plays games like that. No. But he also won't just pick you on his story form.
Because you won the 2019 World Cup.
I mean, he's shown that before.
Yeah.
That brutality is there in his selection, that he will say, I'm pulling you after 26 minutes. I'm pulling you after 30 minutes because you're not performing.
Correct.
But I think if you gave Rassie the picture today, on the eve of the Barbarians game, and said, okay, you're going to play in torrential rain against the Barbers and score 50 points. You're going to cruise at Loftus and then just get a little bit embarrassed and get clips you can show these players every day. Do you want to see that again? Do you want to see yourself going back 25 meters in a maul? This isn't Springbok rugby. To come back with that emphatic answer, 45-0 in front of 44,000, incredible crowd. Again, 37,000 on Saturday. Another just wonderful vibe at that ground. I just think he got such cool answers from this last month. And when I look at the other teams, and really France have got the answers. What they did is, France take so much more than New Zealand do out of these 3 tests.
Big time, mate.
France know they've got a squad that can now go play. And those other 25 that were left at home know that this guy's chomping. And New Zealand thinks that's the best they've got at home. And they were first and third test against that similar side. They were up by 4 points and up by 3 points going into the last 5 minutes, and could so easily have lost both tests. It was only when France basically did put in their seating that New Zealand won quite comfortably.
Correct.
So, they're not quite there. Everyone's very confident when I watch their shows and their podcasts. They're tracking so well, and I would be concerned if I'm tracking like that against the French C team.
Spot on, mate.
Safe B team.
Spot on.
Because the realism is, when Bordeaux and Toulouse's top players aren't there, mate, you haven't played the A team.
Correct. 100%. The All Blacks are in a funny space, mate. World Rugby's in a funny space, and it's great to see France with their second stringers pushing the All Blacks like they did, because it suggests that France are going to stay on the radar. And the Boks do need somebody to play. Because at the moment, Russie's done wonders with the opportunities given to him, but he's been given a lot of opportunities by opponents that are not really, maybe it's this whole recency bias, and maybe it's just my memory of the sort of states of world rugby in years gone by. But remember when England used to be physically dominant, at least. They couldn't finish stuff off. They didn't have the slickness out wide, but they could match you up front. They could push you around. Australia were always very dangerous, technically excellent. And the All Blacks are obviously the most powerful team in the world at that. There were teams that you had to fear. You had to respect them. And I think the Boks need that to get the best out of the Boks. So having France with a bunch of second and third stringers, that Gabin Villiers is a fantastic winger for France. They've got BLBRE, they've got Beno, they've got Pinot, they've got a bunch of guys like that. So France is in a relatively healthy space. And I think they'll push us. And then England's young crop that came back from Argentina and beating the USA are also ones to watch for the future. So that's encouraging because it's going to make winning mean more, right? But right here, right now, you look at the All Blacks and you think, sure, I'm not really sure where they go for answers. And Razor's been gun shy about testing the waters. For me, a guy like that, Timothy Tavatavanawaii, like he should have started at 12 in at least one of these tests, giving him a full gun role at France, and see what he can produce in a test match. They've been quite conservative with some of their selections, and I think that's why they don't have some of the answers that they need.
Yeah, when you say conservative, it's like you just get the hint that do they really trust these players?
That's it.
And Rassie has shown an absolute trust for the player. I wouldn't pick you if I'm not going to play you. He's always spoken about game minutes. Not how many times you're in the squad, how many minutes you actually get on the field. And, if you take last year when you Fussy and Sasha, when he kept them on for 80 minutes, he had insurance policies. And they were 27-17 down. He kept them on. It's like, if you can't beat the All Blacks at Ellis Park, we may have a problem you beating them in Sydney. And the pressure's on, and they turned it around, and they were both influential in that game. But that was the springboard to say, well, the pressure situation outside of a World Cup final won't really get much bigger or better. So, talking about that and just the experience of it, I did the Q&A with the three lads. And one of the questions I asked Deal Fourie was, what was going through your mind with that last scrum? He was captaining the side in the World Cup final. And he said he went to Wayne Barnes before it, and he just said to him, are you going to referee this scrum like you have the previous 80 minutes?
Really?
Yeah. And Wayne Barnes said yes. He said, that's all I need to know.
Wow.
Because they felt they had parity, they felt they had dominance, and he just needed to know because a 50-50 call. And he said, and Wayne Barnes did referee. And I thought the maturity and
that's experience, right?
And the experience there to actually slow the moment down, calm his team down. And he said Jasper was just incredible in the strength he showed because he said New Zealand put in they were playing for the World Cup. They were playing for everything. And he said that the strength of that Boks scrum to actually, as a cohesive unit, to withstand that, and for Jasper to basically get the drive, get the momentum. And because I said, when that whistle went, did you think there could be a penalty? And he said, no. I knew he had refereed the scrum interpretation, and now he was going to referee.
But also, you put the referee on notice there. You're
Completely.
basically saying, hey, mate, I'm marking this moment.
Yeah.
You're not reffing this like it's the World Cup final, it's the last scrum, and if New Zealand don't win it, it's game over. Yeah. You're reffing this like the rest of the match. It's a huge, huge play.
Yeah, because I said to him, and then what? He said, I don't know, I put my head up, and my head came up, and it was over, and it was just magnificent. So, yeah, and that's the kind of experience that you look at, and that's why Rassie won't just get rid of a Willie Leroux, for example.
Yeah.
If the guy's still conditioned, he's still fit, they call him in to play a test or two, knowing that he's been there. And I just love that kind of maturity that is in the squad, but there's also that youthful injection. So you see the Kanan Moody's, the Sashas that are coming through. You see the new youngsters that are introduced into the kind of the pack. And the incredible thing about a Kanan Moody's, 14 test matches he's played. He's won all 14. He's never lost in a Springbok test jersey. And it feels like he's been playing for a decade. But he played at the age of 19. He's now 22. Like you say, the next World Cup, you'll be 25. And by that time, you could have 30 test matches and be so experienced. And you think, wow.
You're going to be on another level, I think, at the World Cup.
And then you look and you think, hey, we had Deolandi and we had Deolandi and Jesse Krill. And all of a sudden you say, hey, we got Kanan Moody and potentially someone else. When did this happen? It happened over the period of 3 years.
Organically, right?
Organically, yeah. Wow. So, and I think you go back to your thing of Errol van der Merwe getting the opportunity, it just gives you comfort that if Chesson is injured or kind of, you need to rotate to give him kind of the rest. It's not like you drop him down radically. It's like you got a guy who can play. He's got gas, he's got feet. But then you get an Ethan Hooker, Mapimpi, very physical. They've got options. It's not like we are just set in one type of back.
Spot on. We can adjust to our opponents and the conditions and the context and all that sort of stuff. So very healthy space. We just got to get the likes of Ethan Hooker onto the field now and get some more tape on him. And but the options are numerous. I mean, at 12, if you consider the options at 12 between Damien de Allender, potentially Ethan Hooker, Sasha, Handre, Gaza. I mean, you got a wealth of talent there, and they're all experienced. The majority of them experienced and game-changing players. So we're in a very healthy space.
And all offer a very different kind of option at 12.
Yeah.
Looking at, I mean, you were very critical of last year of Tony Brown and Tony Ball, as you called it. Do you see that the definite evolving now of just in the attack and the way they're playing compared to last year?
No, definitely. Look, there's no doubt that the Boks have evolved, and I'm not surprised that they've evolved. I think that's fantastic. The ability and the confidence of the players to make decisions about attack in the moment they've definitely got more latitude to do things, and they've also been coached up and got reps doing those things. So the success rate is there. And that's exciting, mate, because if you try to plan against the Boks, it's not just about stopping the scrum and stopping them at the front door or having to deal with the kicking game. You've now also got to deal with the fact that every time you make a mistake, these guys can turn it on and put it over the line whenever they want to. And I think that is a massive feather in the Boks cap. I'll be interested to see, though, if and when, and that's what it is. It's all about if and when a team can actually fight the Boks up front, can actually match them in the set piece, can actually take them on in the trenches. At that point, I think that's where you're going to see the test relevance of those tactics. Can you pull it off? It's easy against Georgia and Italy for Erkje to be looking for offloads, to be running those support lines. The margins are a little bit wider. So it's going to be interesting. Like when we play the All Blacks at Eden Park, I'm sure it's going to be blood on the dance floor. I just want to make sure that the Boks, as much as they can moonwalk, which is fantastic and brings the crowd to their feet, I want to make sure we haven't forgotten what the gutters look like and what teams that play in the gutters, what they do and how to live with those guys. So,
and also our appetite, our boys, their natural instinct is to take you to the gutter,
spot on,
not to the dance floor.
Yeah.
The fact that they can do both now.
Yes.
But they mustn't forget that they do like the gutters.
That's what I wanted to say, though, is that when Rassie came in 2018, he took the guys to the gutters. He said, this is how we are going to be a gutter pig team. That's what we're going to do. And he built from there. And those guys that have been to 2 World Cups, including the likes of Brunnes, will know very well, having played for Rassie for the better part of 15 years, what gutter rugby is all about. But there is a new generation that is going to have to come into this team in the next couple of years who are not going to have the 2018 experience in their back pockets. And those guys at some point are going to have to be introduced in a live environment to what gutter rugby is, so that when they need to pull that card out of the deck, they know how to play it.
If you look at, you say, the litmus test, you'd have to say it's going to be that the first one at Eden Park, given the history that's there. My understanding is he's going to play 2 squads in any case over there. If he gets that win, he'll play the next guys, because it's all about prepping for 2027.
Yeah,
it's more significant than trying to get a back-to-back series win there. And he confidently believes that he can pick 2 different.
And he can, mate.
Yeah, 10,
prove him wrong.
10 changes each time.
Yeah.
Then you've got Ireland again in Dublin, and you've got France in France. And those 2 one-off tests become quite significant because it was nip and tuck with France in the World Cup. We haven't really played them. And Ireland have the wood on us. We've won 1 out of 4 against them. So sometimes you get a team that actually just does trouble you. So I don't say for one moment Ireland's the best team in the world. The Springboks are without a doubt the best team in the world.
Yeah.
But you sometimes get that thing where in a table tennis team of 4,
there's a guy who just knows
4 can beat 1 at training.
Yeah.
2 and 3 can never beat 1. And 4 can never beat 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So Ireland would think like they're doing something right, that even though the margins have been very small, that they have managed to kind of somehow, that Irish team at its best, get one over the Boks. So to me, that will be a very interesting game.
Big time.
In terms of the evolution of the Springbok team. But then the beauty is you going into 2026 with 3 home tests against the All Blacks. You'll be on tour.
Oh, mate.
It'll be our like British and Irish Lions effect here.
Super.
And then you got an end of the year tour. Then it's only the World Cup year. And I keep on saying this to people when they're like, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. It's like there's 30-odd test matches till the next World Cup. It's a long time. It's a career.
It is,
a
mate.
lot of players.
It is.
So the key is to keep that winning momentum.
Big time.
To win more than you lose, because that builds a great habit. And to also understand what a team wants to get out of each kind of game.
No, totally.
If you talk about the state of World Rugby, Zels, the British and Irish Lions, your views of that first test, and now the series, we both tipped Australia to maybe sneak this first one.
Yeah.
And I just felt they didn't pitch.
No, they didn't, mate. They didn't. So let's start with the British and Irish Lions. Fabulous players in the European context. Obviously dominated club rugby over there in top 14, English Premiership, some of them in the URC. And they had, I suppose you could call it the momentum of pretty much running over whatever Australia put in front of them in the weeks leading up to the first test. And they certainly looked like the team in control of that first test match, but they only won by 8 points against an Australia team that really struggled. I give Australia an A+ for effort in that match. Technically not on points. That defense lacks a lot of sting. It's very passive. It's giving the Lions as many carries as they like, and I don't think that's sustainable. I like Tom Liner. I'm surprised to say it. He's an 80-kilogram fly-off. But what I like about him is that he knows he's an 80-kilogram fly-off, and his feet are not writing checks that his body can't cash. That Noah Lolesio is a fantastic, fabulous line-breaking threat player, very creative, exciting, but that team can't keep up with that kind of a player, and they need a guy who's going to be more of a banker than a gambler, and I think that's what Tom Liner is. So I'm not sure what the future holds for that kid, but there were some very positive signs there. He looks for kick space. He's tactical in his thinking, and there is some value to that guy. So I don't know whether he sticks around for Test 2, but I expect the Wallabies to get Bobby V. Valentini back, to get Will Skelton back. I thought Fraser McWright was good in parts of that game, and I feel like Australia may not win the second test, but I'm not writing them off in the series, and I think it's going to be a close game. I think I'm expecting a back. I'll be disappointed if Australia just lies down now. I think they will respond. As much as they were terrible in that first one, they've played one test since November, and they've been mucking about in popcorn Super Rugby. So,
look, the thing that surprised me the most was when they were 24-5 down, no in that game.
yeah.
It was, as Clive Woodward says, men against boys. Every time the Lions got some cohesion going, you just thought, here it comes. Some of they got it back to 27-12. Then they got it to 27-19. Game was done and dusted, 79 minutes. They couldn't score 2 tries again. But that Australian mindset of they don't give up, not in Australian sport. And for Harry Wilson to boot the ball out to end, it was like a surrender for
No, 100%, mate. I agree with that. I mean, what he's telling you there is that he doesn't feel like they have the tools in their plan to finish any movement. As much as it's a bad position on the field, you're not playing for bonus points. There's nothing in it. So, yes, you might have conceded more points, but it almost talks to like damage control. And I think that is a poor indictment on where Australia is in terms of their planning and their game model for that game, because he felt like, listen, there's no point us playing anymore. We are not going to break these guys down. Let's just end this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, in 27-19, somehow they scored the miracle try. 27-26, 4 tries to 3. They walk into their shed saying, we can actually take these guys.
100%.
Now he's saying, enough. We can't go 90 meters. Boots it out. It should have been the Lions booting it out like that.
Exactly.
And I just felt that's the leader of the Australian side.
Exactly.
And the message was, I just want to get out of here. And 27-19 looks respectable.
Correct.
34-19 looks like we've been done a dirty. And they had been done a dirty. You know, it's like...
Yeah, the scoreline definitely flatters Australia if you look at the performance.
Yeah, and... but also, to me, this Lions, it's a good Lions side without being an outstanding Lions side. And this is a very vulnerable Wallabies team. And we'll see that in the Rugby Championship.
They need to get more aggressive on defense, mate. They've got to ask those Lions attackers some questions. Oh, Finn Russell's going to pick you off. They've got to do more.
Look, I've got them to end 4th out of 4 in the Rugby Championship. So that's context and perspective. This is what the famed British and Irish Lions are playing. They're playing the worst team in the Rugby Championship. and they won by 8 points. We sent a Boks team there last year who beat a stronger Wallabies team. They had all those guys in there. We beat them twice for 2 different teams.
Yeah.
We beat them at Suncorp convincingly, and we beat them in Perth. I mean, we're just the best.
We are, mate.
Under
We are.
20s,
Indeed.
seniors, and sevens.
I think we're going to win the Currie Cup as well.
Well, we can't lose the Curry Cup. At one stage, they used to say, at least the South Africans have got the Curry Cup. It's something they'll win.
Yeah.
But now we know that, except for that 1 year, I think in the first week, Argentina's game. Oh no, Los Pumas are here.
Yeah.
Just wonderful to be a part of South African rugby at the moment, and to try and tell the story of South African rugby, and to show it's not an elitist sport. It's not just if you've only got a certain amount of money and you can afford a subscription that you get it. You can see the visuals, all those things.
Oh, beautiful, mate.
Terrible, mate.
Share the game with everyone.
Share the game with everyone. I'd love to see this game on SABC more. I'd love the people of South Africa to get more exposure to the Springboks. They hero worship these guys. They got 1 test match out of 6 this year. Let's try and make it at least 3 out of 6, or even give it delayed, because you can't keep on promoting a brand and only a certain amount of people can actually see it.